Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Blessed you are, our God, ruler of the world, who sanctifies us with good deeds and calls upon us to kindle the lights of the festival day.
This weekend, Jews around the world said these words as they lit candles to welcome Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and so-called days of awe between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the days of atonement. During this time, we strive to make peace with those around us and ourselves and God for the things we could have done better in the last year. We strive to renew our souls for a healthy new year.
May we each seek and find such renewal.
Good morning, First Parish. The two-day observance of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, concludes at sundown this evening. I'd like to teach you a traditional song celebrating Rosh Hashanah. The words are relatively easy. L'shana tova tikatevu. Say each word after me. L'shana tova tikatevu. Now all the words together in sequence. L'shana tova tikatevu. May you be inscribed for a happy new year. Each section of the tune is repeated, so you'll have a chance to pick it up. Let's sing together. L'shana tova tikatevu, tikatevu. 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 L'shana tova tikatevu, tikatevu.
The star symbolizes 5 sacred things in that tradition: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Whatever an apple symbolizes to you and your family, I hope that you are having a beautiful fall season.
Spirit of life, come unto me. amor, ven hacia mí, ya corazón, cántale tu compasión, sopla volar, sube en la mar, hasta modiar la justicia de la vida. Arraigame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Wouldn't it be great to have cheerleaders for your spirit? Just to have some folks around who might pop out of a closet or from behind a tree and start cheering you on when you just can't quite get things in gear. This spring, this summer, and now this fall are turning into an interminable slog. Constantly changing information about health and safety, the looming prospect of a possible deepening of the health pandemic, while people's personal finances get more and more precarious every week, every day. And it feels as if at every turn, where we think there's been progress made on the racial reckoning of this nation, another horror story emerges, another killing is discovered, another targeted murder amplifies the struggle. People experiencing homelessness seem to get more and more vulnerable, and not for the lack of people trying to make things better, but because in a society that seems addicted to scarcity mentality, those who have the least seem to also be the most expendable. Around here in Massachusetts, people are letting their guard down. Fewer and fewer masks, and with the frustrations of trying to return children to school, it's harder to keep track of all the pieces of COVID safety that got us into this point of where we're able to actually even open schools at all. I saw a school letting out just the other day where I was surprised at how nearly all the children and parents outside of the school were maskless, and many were crowded together like nothing had happened over the last 6 months at all. People are tired, and I fear that there is a lot of that, well, maybe just let it go this one time thinking going on. Back on March 29th, I delivered a message called simply Marathon. I was half tempted to simply repost that message this week, and I'll encourage you to revisit it. It was a hopeful sermon that spoke of how this time can and will transform us if we can just stay in it. I still believe in this message, and I acknowledge that it is harder now. The personal losses that I myself have sustained tell me that the days can be mighty dark, and the anxiety can be high and bright. The discipline that I spoke of in that earlier sermon is challenged every day by clouds of doubt, the odor of boredom, the burn of inaccessibility, and the gutted feeling of being surrounded by the specter of death. And so I ask again, wouldn't it be great to have cheerleaders for your spirit? What would that even look like? What kind of outfits would they wear? Would they have angels' wings and halos? I suppose I don't really mean literal cheerleaders, although it's fun to think about. We all need cheerleaders for our spirit. But I think we get caught up in our very career-oriented way of thinking and assume that if someone or something is going to be a cheerleader, that's what they will always and only be. You see, I'm learning that cheerleaders, and particularly the cheerleaders we need in this moment, are the ones who show up unexpectedly, spontaneously, and they come giving gifts of inspiration that we couldn't have imagined on our own. Over the last few weeks, I've learned of the death of another beloved friend, and had the near death of another confirmed. While struggling with the reality of how, despite their best efforts, and certainly no intended harm, the city of Cambridge and Harvard University seem to be gambling with people's lives in a grand health experiment. I've heard tearful anxieties from educators and students, clergy and congregants about how the state of the world is chipping away at their mental health. And in the midst of it, I got mail. Actual snail mail. A few cards, a letter, and even a book. In those small gestures, I found a moment of connection and hope that let me feel human and loved and not at all responsible for just one moment. It was and is delicious. I've said a few notes myself. Not for any real purpose, but just because I was thinking of someone. And I wonder if they had the same effect. I've made some calls and sent some texts like that as well, literally just because someone crossed my mind, and I'm always amazed at how much it seems to mean to people these days. As I've been continuing my move into my new place in Arlington, I've relied on the building maintenance folks for any number of things, and also movers, and I've been thrilled with their sense of care and eagerness to go out of their way to not just do a good job, but to let me know that they cared about what they were doing during this super weird time. I think these are the cheerleaders. Not everything has to be a big deal or a crisis. It is the cumulative effect of these small moments of care and thought that are offered to me and that I then offer to others, that are this circle of care that envelops all of us. It ebbs, it flows, it shrinks, it grows. There are times when I have great capacity to do this, and other times when I am in great need of these contacts. I had a wonderful reminder of how incredibly valuable this is when we met with the pastoral care team this week. Too often, I and the staff haven't had the time to let them know how their outreach has created an underlying shift in the entire community. But let me go on record as saying it here and now. The outreach that the pastoral care team has done in this time has made an enormous difference for us all. Phone calls, some meals, help with groceries, a listening ear, a card, a letter, an errand, and of course, their encouragement of the staff. The pastoral care team has kept us going through this ongoing outreach and connection, and it has strengthened the web between us all and inspired folks to do more of this kind of connecting on their own. The end result is that if we are looking for cheerleaders, we simply have to recognize them in our midst. Inspired by those people who are in our lives who make contact with us just to let us know they care. We can all be cheerleaders. And yes, there are times when we will not feel capable of being that person. That's when we call on others to be our cheerleaders. But this is something that we share as part of our commitment to each other. Not only does our capacity to cheer each other on renew us and restore us in the moment, it renews our commitment to community. That's the beauty of it. It's kind of like a self-charging car. The more it moves, the more it recharges itself. As we continue to move through this time, as we continue to face new challenges and old ones getting more burdensome, may we always remember that pastoral care is the work of the whole community. Our wonderful pastoral care team leads the way, but the responsibility rests on all of us to pay it forward and to cheer each other on. May it be so.